Welcome everybody to the third round of the SEAT TCR Championship. This time the track is Zandvoort, and hopefully we have another exciting race as the one we had last week. And obviously next to me I have Adrian Figalo, who will be live stewarding the race, along with Joshua Penny, who as usual will be commentating the race. On to you, Adrian.
Hello everybody, and welcome for today's race. As Justin well said, I'll be having a look on the drivers stewarding the race, and will be watching closely for any irregularities. Till now, races have resulted quite clean, so I hope it will be another similar race today here at Zandvoort. Within a couple of minutes, we'll be going live with the briefing. So within 2 minutes, we'll go live with the briefing, and I'll pass on now my mic to Joshua Penny. Welcome, Joshua.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zandvoort. As we've already been introduced, this is round 3 of the championship. Round 2 was a cracker, I should say, and actually round 1 was pretty exciting as well. They're still on YouTube and Facebook for you to see. But today, of course, we're at Zandvoort. It's a tricky course. It's a tricky course to overtake at as well, which means the drivers are going to have to be very creative with their moves, very calculated, and very safe as well. I'm sure that there are going to be some drivers who have a real opportunity and then throw it away by one wheel on the grass or in the gravel, and that's the lot. So yeah, Zandvoort is an interesting addition to the calendar, and with 2 sprint races today, one of them with a partially reversed grid, it's going to take the best drivers to do well here, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. As you said, also last round was a great round and an exciting round to watch, with very near battles at the top of the grid, and it was actually fun. Within 1 minute, we'll be going live with the briefing, following which today we have, as usual, a 30-minute practice session, 15-minute qualifying, and today we have 2 races of 15 laps each, with a reverse grid for the first 6 places on the grid. Also, we have a pit window, a mandatory pit window, which will open from between the 6th and the 9th lap of the race. But very soon we'll be giving all these details in our briefing.
So before we go to the briefing, I should point out we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find us at World Pro Racing on any of those platforms, I believe. And it's good to see you all here for this round 3 of the World Pro Racing SEAT TCR Summer Championship, round 3 of 6.
So we're moving now to the briefing channel, where we will hold our briefing very shortly in a few seconds. So, hello everybody. Welcome for round 3 of the World Pro Racing SEAT TCR Summer Championship here at the Zandvoort track today. I would like to thank our sponsors, which are Melita, GT Omega Racing, and Textor, and 3D Rep. We're gonna go now through the briefing with all the drivers. So as usual, we don't have any restarts of the race unless there is a huge pileup or a possible server disconnection. Sorry about that. Today's race is made up of a 30-minute practice session, 15 minutes qualifying, and then we're going to have 2 races of 15 laps each with a reverse grid for the first 6 places in the first race. It's important that you observe the mandatory pit window, which is between the 6th and the 9th lap Please note that the mandatory pit window will open as soon as the first driver on the grid will start its sixth lap, and it closes as soon as after the ninth lap. Well, when it closes the sixth lap, and obviously closes after the ninth lap. It's important that after the briefing, everybody will go to his team channel or any other non-team channels. Can stay here in the briefing channel. It's important that you put your Discord on push to talk so that you don't disturb any other drivers during the race. It is important, as usual, that you watch out the first corner of the after the start. Observe the blue flags. Please avoid any heavy shortcuts, which will be penalized with a 10-second penalty, obviously, unless it's for avoiding any incident. It's important, don't cause any incidents, especially when you're going into pits or going out of pits, because these will incur also a 10-second penalty. If we issue any live penalty during the race, a drive-through penalty, it has to be done in the next within the nech two consecutive laps. Another thing which will be penalized is getting back on track in a dangerous manner. Dive bombing will be penalized also with a 10-second penalty. It's important that you don't do back to pits during practice and qualifying. So you need to drive around the track and drive into the pits, not stop in the middle of track and go back to pits. And we don't. And even at the end of the race, yes, you go back to pits. You just not stop and start doing any funny things on the finish line. It's important that if you have any complaints, you can contact me or Justin after the race, and obviously through Discord, and we can have a look at your complaint and let us please decide and take the final decision. The final decisions will be made by me, especially as a live steward today. Please, if you have any complaints, it is important that also you record your own replay. So if there is any particular thing that obviously could have passed through my observation during the race, you can send me your replay for me to even look at it, just in case we don't have it on our replay. So I don't know. It's important, by the way. Don't disconnect or between the races. That's something very important. If you got disqualified or something happens to you in the first race, just don't disconnect. Wait for the second race. I repeat, please don't go back to pits during practice and qualifying. Just drive back to pits. Drive back to pits. So official practice will kick off at 8 p.m. As I said, 30 minutes of practice, 15 minutes qualifying, and then we have the two races of 15 laps each today, with a reverse grid for the first 6 positions in the first race, and a mandatory pit stop between the 6th and 9th lap when, obviously, when the leader goes on those laps. Please look when the leader goes on those laps. So, any questions, please? Okay, that's nice. So it seems there are no questions today. Great stuff. Guys, wish you all luck. Have fun. Let's have fun. Go back to the track and drive clean for my side. Yeah.
Good luck, everyone.
So that was the briefing of today. Now, obviously, we have open practice for all the drivers that will still be trying to do their own best times and practice till the official practice kicks off at 8 p.m. So very soon, Joshua will be busy, yes, looking at some great practice times, and we'll see what times these drivers will manage to do today. We're going for a short commercial break now. We'll be back with you very shortly.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
Welcome back to round 3 of the World Pro Racing SEAT TCR Summer Championship. Today here at Zandvoort Track, together with us, with me Adrian and Justin, we have also Joshua Penny. On to you, Joshua, to make a pre-practice commentary before we kick off the official practice within 6 minutes.
So we're back. We're still at Zandvoort for round 3 of the World Pro Racing SEAT TCR Summer Championship, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So thanks, Adrian. We're back, and we have about 6 minutes now until the start of the official practice session. We're just seeing the drivers going around of their non-official practice times so far. Currently, the top time on the leaderboard that I see in front of me is Omar Barbara with a 142.970. So that's the current benchmark heading into practice. However, we haven't seen any of the championship contenders actually setting laps yet, the primary championship contenders anyway, because Omar Barbara is 5th in the championship. Talking of that championship table, incidentally, it's currently Danilo Santoro at the top of that with 61 points, from Daniele Pasquale with 55. Incidentally, Luigi Di Lorenzo also has 55 points, but he's classified behind Pasquale due to Pasquale having a higher points total at the first round. So Pasquale currently second in the championship from Di Lorenzo. We both have very similar results. Pasquale came 4th in Monza. Di Lorenzo won that, but Pasquale did a lot better in terms of the results than Di Lorenzo at Brands Hatch. So yeah, Di Lorenzo, our winner from last time out, 3rd place in the championship, 6th places behind the top. Behind him, best of the rest, when you see it as Morning Stars Academy and then the rest of the field, is Cyril Saucy in 4th position. Cyril Saucy is 4th, followed by Omar Barbara, who is 5th in the championship. Then we have Nelson Abranosa, Gianluigi Carrao, Sandro Zara, Roy Kopp, and Antonin Dobrovolska. Those are the top 10 in this championship. We've had more drivers contesting, but a lot of those drivers haven't made either one round or either round, which means that the championship below there gets a little bit confusing. But down to 10th place, those are the current standards. So now, with 4 minutes remaining until the start of this session, I'll tell you a little bit about the track. We're at the Zandvoort circuit, which is in the Netherlands. So far, one of the only top racing circuits in Zandvoort, alongside Assen, which is actually, well, Assen is rumoured to be making a Formula 1 return soon, as the Dutch Grand Prix. It'd be great to see the Dutch Grand Prix returning to the calendar. I don't know quite how realistic that is, but it's definitely been rumoured. The circuit, of course, the Zandvoort circuit, seeing as that's what we're here for, known as the Circuit Park Zandvoort until last year, has been running since 1948, and apparently the lap record here in any car is a 122.8, although that was in a Formula 1 car. Today we're expecting low 140s, so low 140s are what we're expecting as a lowest time. So just 3 minutes now until the start of the race. Zandvoort, incidentally, a very tight and twisty circuit right next to the seat. In fact, it's so close to the seat that the circuit is based on sand dunes. And if you go to the real circuit and stand around the side, you will be standing on sand dunes. This is effectively a circuit in the middle of the beach. There's a bit of grass about, but effectively this is a beach circuit, one of the only circuits of its kind, and it does mean that the drivers get a nice holiday resort to go with their race if they go there in reality. And if they ever have to retire from the race early, then they can always go down to the beach to chill out a bit while they're waiting for the end of the race or the next event. Incidentally, we've just had a new fastest practice time. This is not official practice yet, so don't. Of course, it's not representative, but fastest lap has just come in from our championship leader, Danilo Santoro. So watch out definitely for Santoro when the official practice starts, as well as his two other Morning Stars Academy teammates, Luigi Di Lorenzo and Daniele Pasquale. Those two, the two other drivers in that team, the team that has been utterly dominant this season so far and has led every single session, with counting qualifying and the race. So we've had 3 races so far this season, 2 qualifying sessions, and the 3 Morning Stars Academy have been 1, 2, 3 in absolutely all of those. So official practice has now got underway, I think. And the first car out of the pits is going to be Matthias McCarthy. So when McCarthy goes around to actually start this lap, I'd like to ride on board with him so he can show us a hot lap of this track. It'll be the first view that we'll have of it in Anger, and he will be the first driver to set a lap here, I believe. You see the massive sand bank on the left-hand side there, the massive gravel bank rather. That the graveyard site of many expired cars in the past, cars that have gone sideways into it or right up the hill. Difficult place to recover vehicles from, because the recovery vehicles often struggle to get up there, and you don't have a crane at the top, which they probably should have, but in reality it is a difficult place to recover broken cars from, and a lot of broken cars end up right there. But anyway, actually McCarthy might not be the first driver to set a lap here, because he has another car right in his mirror, so appears to be going through, and that's Senio Alpha making his debut. So let's ride on board now with Senio Alpha as he does his first lap in an official World Pro Racing session, and shows us around this Circuit Park Zandvoort. So here goes the tunnel west straight, the main pit straight, heading down towards the Tarzan hairpin. Here is Tarzan to the right. It's banked. Oh, he locks up a wheel slightly there. It's banked. There's a curb on the inside. It's one of the only overtaking opportunities on this track. Now heading up to the right-hander, this is Gerlachbocht. Gerlachbocht heading towards the left-hander at Hugenholzbocht. Often if you're really aggressive here, you can dive down the inside for an overtake, but you can only really do that in a touring car, although these are touring cars. Up through the S's, these are the Ron Slotermeter, or this is Ron Slotermeter box rather, at the top of the hill. As we head towards that corner with the banked gravel trap, that is Schivlak turn, and the next right-hander rather, will be Hondenblack. He's just gone round Hondenblack now, and you'll see there is a sort of hook, almost hairpin type corner with a wide exit, meaning it doesn't feel like a hairpin to drive. This next one does though. It's a long one, but it leads out onto a straight, so it requires a very good exit, and if you don't get a good exit there, you lose out a lot heading down towards the chicane. It's a right and a left. The left goes on for a while. Again, it's banked. Banked corners are a feature of the Zandvoort circuit, and now we're about to head through the final corner of the lap. This is the Arie Luyendyk bocht, named after the famous Dutch IndyCar driver Arie Luyendyk. And as we exit Arie Luyendyk bocht, we are going to see the very first lap set in the session from Senio Alpha, and the lap is a 1:43.758. So that is the lap to beat here, and I believe the driver to beat it might well end up being Danilo Santoro, because Santoro is fastest of anyone in the first sector. Oh, Omar Barbara goes to the top. Omar Barbara at the top with a 1:43.518. That's over 0.2 of a second quicker than Senio Alpha at the start. Senio Alpha, the new Croatian driver in the field. But I'm watching Danilo Santoro here as he heads around Schivlak, and this is his first flying lap of the session. Incidentally, oh, that's not Schivlak, that's actually the final corner. He's just heading out of that. I'm not sure why. Oh, I am. Okay, right, he goes to the top. It's a 1:43.266. I was about to say I'm not sure why his second sector time hadn't registered, and now I've just realised there are only 2 sectors on this track. So that means the second sector is actually classified after they cross the finish line. Justinas Saldukas makes a mistake there. He was on a very quick lap. I was going to say he just set the fastest. Made a mistake in the chicane though. That's going to cost him a couple of tenths rather. Let's see what the lap is as he heads out of Arie Luyendyk bocht at the end of the lap. Bounces over the curb on the outside. It's been a much better first sector than a second sector, and he goes up to second place, 1:43.419. I must say I've been impressed so far by Saldukas. He's got more to come. However, let's watch Danilo Santoro here, who has just put in another fastest first sector. Oh, Senio Alpha goes back up to second place in the order, less than 1/10 of a second off Santoro. So Santoro needs to react here. People are getting closer to him in terms of the times, and Santoro, we've seen from practice, has a lot more to offer. As now Omar Barbara goes up to second with the fastest second sector of anyone. Barbara with a 1:43.347 goes to second. Again, less than 1/10 of a second behind Danilo Santoro. Santoro has to respond here. However, he's going about 0.6 up on his lap as he comes through the final corner here. Santoro half a second up as he comes out of Arie Luyendyk box. This is going to be a storming lap. Quite obviously pole position if he keeps it in the lines. He does. Danilo Santoro along the start-finish straight, and he crosses the line to go 1:42.645. That's 0.702 ahead of anyone else. A brilliant lap there from Danilo Santoro, and that is the brand new benchmark. That's quicker than anyone went in the pre-practice session. And Danilo Santoro, obviously the driver to beat, fastest in both sectors, very, very fast. I'm watching now Luigi Di Lorenzo, one of his main championship rivals, setting a fastest first sector time of anyone. So Di Lorenzo is attacking. Incidentally, we haven't seen Pasquale yet. So Pasquale, the other Morning Stars Academy driver, isn't here yet. However, he did turn up late to the last race as well, and still ended up doing rather well. So Pasquale might well be a driver who we see later on, and I hope so, because it would be a shame to see a driver lose out on championship contention simply through being absent. So hopefully he does make it in. I hope that we've heard from him already. But anyway, for the meantime, Luigi Di Lorenzo in the final 2 corners. Yeah.
Actually, he was in the briefing, so definitely he said he's going to turn up for the race. So.
Good. So we're not missing Daniele Pasquale today. If he was in the briefing, I'm not sure why he's not in the session so far, but hopefully he will be in very shortly. Across the line goes Luigi Di Lorenzo. He puts his vehicle to 3rd. It was a slower second sector, quite a lot slower actually. He's losing about half a second in the final sector alone, and he definitely needs to work on the end of his lap. The start of it was great, but the end of it needs work. Maybe he made a mistake in there, but Di Lorenzo is 2nd. Third rather. Sal Ducas is 2nd, and Sal Ducas is improving his time so far. He just set a personal best first sector, and he's now in the 2nd, gaining time, but he's not quite gaining enough time to jump very close to Santoro at all here. Santoro in a class of his own so far, but maybe Sal Ducas can pull something out. Both him and Di Lorenzo are improving on their own laps here. Sal Ducas out of the final corner, doesn't get the best of runs. This might not be an improvement at all from Justinas. He's going to cross the line now, and it wasn't an improvement. It was close, but it wasn't. Santoro now sets a fastest first sector again. So Santoro again responding and going fastest in the first sector. Still in an absolute class of his own up the front there in the Morning Stars Academy car. Santoro definitely looks to be on form today. But still plenty of time to go in this official practice session. And I should remind you, this is only official practice, so this doesn't affect the grid order directly. And that means that drivers can afford to make mistakes and not show their real pace at this stage in the race weekend. Incidentally, Di Lorenzo's lap was not an improvement either, and I don't think Santoro's will be in the end because he's lost a lot in the second sector, I'm afraid to say. As we have almost 10 minutes completed. Actually, we've just seen Daniele Pasquale has joined the server, so Pasquale is in. He hasn't been out onto the track yet, but it's good to see that he has made it, and will probably be going out onto the track soon to show his worth. It's very, very evenly matched between all of the Morning Stars Academy drivers in this championship so far. It looked in the opening round like it was going to be Santoro and Pasquale for the championship, and Di Lorenzo would be a solid 3rd. But Di Lorenzo really reacted to that last time out, and although he only qualified for 3rd, fought his way through and won the race after passing both of his teammates in a mega battle. And that put Luigi Di Lorenzo well and truly in contention for this championship. So Di Lorenzo definitely in contention for it. I think it will be one of the Morning Stars drivers who wins it in the end. I think that's pretty obvious at this point in time, seeing as they have been on they have been on the podium 1, 2, and 3 for both qualifying sessions and all 3 races that we've had so far this year. So 5 sessions and 5 1, 2, 3s for the Morning Stars Academy team. They have had an absolutely perfect run of it so far, and I think they're going to be pretty much unstoppable in this championship, but we'll have to see. They must be absolute setup and driving geniuses there at Morning Stars. I'd love to find out how they do it, but Morning Stars just very, very quick, obviously.
Yeah, we see also some good times being clocked in by Justinas, Sal Ducas, Omar, and Sanyo, so they could have some good contention here today, possibly, and we'll see for the future of the championship also.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not saying it's over by any means. I'm not saying it's going to be a boring championship, because last round, of course, we had a fantastic battle between not just the 3 Morning Stars Academy drivers, but also Omar Barbara. And I've just realised I've made a mistake, actually, because Barbara was on the podium last time out. So it hasn't been a straight 1, 2, 3 for the Morning Stars team throughout the championship. They've been 1, 2, 3 on 4, of those 5 race or qualifying sessions. Barbara took 1 podium, and yeah, we still have Barbara and Salducas very high in the order, and Salducas actually splitting Santoro and Di Lorenzo so far, so maybe Salducas really can challenge today. We'll have to see. He hasn't been able to challenge so far this series, but maybe he's just found some real pace today. Justinas Salducas. Actually, he hasn't scored a point at all in this championship. I'm wondering whether... I can't remember. Did he actually make any of the races so far this year? I don't think he has done. Well, whatever.
Sure, he did some races actually, so obviously off my mind I cannot remember what positions he was in, but definitely he was in our previous races of this championship.
Okay, well, Salducas hasn't yet scored a point, so this would be a massive jump forward if he was to deliver a result like this. He's currently 3rd now, as Luigi Di Lorenzo has improved his time and gone to 2nd. Oh, and Di Lorenzo gets demoted now by Daniele Pasquale, who goes to 2nd with a 142.802 to Di Lorenzo's 143.095. So it's looking at the minute like another 1-2-3 for the Morning Stars Academy team. However, it's not over yet, and Salducas, Barbara, Alpha, they're all there to challenge. We haven't yet seen what Senor Alpha can do, because he's actually making his debut today. So Senor Alpha, a new driver in this championship, we haven't seen his potential yet, and that means he could surprise us, although no pressure to do so, as any result, of course, will be his best result today. So he's just here to show us what he can do. And currently he's running 6th in this order, which really isn't a bad effort so far, as there are 6 drivers within a second of Danilo Santoro at the minute. That is including Santoro himself. So the top 6 separated by less than, well, I say less than a second, it's actually 0.720 of a second that separates them, as we are approaching the halfway point in this practice session. Daniele Pasquale could improve on his lap here. He's hooking together a good final sector. This might actually challenge Santoro's lap if he gets the final 2 corners absolutely perfect. He's doing well so far on this lap. It's been a quick first sector, not his quickest, but it's a quick one nonetheless. And as he exits the final corner, he needs a good run here. That's not a good run, I'm afraid. And Pasquale's maybe not going to improve on this lap. He doesn't improve, but it's close. Pasquale doesn't quite improve on his lap there. However, the lap he did set would still be good enough to give him 2nd place. So a good lap nonetheless. And as we pass the halfway point in the session, it's Santoro leading. Danilo Santoro at the top, followed by Daniele Pasquale, Luigi Di Lorenzo, Justinas Salducas, Omar Barbara, the debutant, Senio Alpha, then Cyril Sorsi, Gianluigi Carrao, Nelson Abranosa, Pieter Grobler is 10th. Then we have Sandro Zara, Michael Macher, Michael Abranosa, Michael Abranosa. That's not Nelson Abranosa. So a new Abranosa in this field. I wonder whether Nelson Abranosa can make it in. Oh, he is already in. He's running 9th. Yeah, and then 14th place so far is Matthias Macher.
Actually, Michael is the nephew of Nelson, so he joined us for the first race this time. Okay,
so Nelson has a nephew in this race. That is Michael Abranosa, and Michael and Nelson on the grid together for the first time in World Pro Racing. Nelson is currently 9th. Michael is currently 13th. There are 14 drivers. As we see a fastest first sector time from Daniele Pasquale, he's keeping it up in the 2nd sector. He's got traffic in the final corner. Hopefully they don't hold him up here. In fact, they're more likely to give him a slipstream. So down the final straight goes Daniele Pasquale. This is going to be quicker. It is quicker. However, it's not quickest. It's less than 7 hundredths of a second off Santoro's lap. The gap is 0.069. It's a 142.714 from Pasquale. He's really challenging here. Fastest in the first sector of anyone. Not quite as quick in the 2nd sector. And Pasquale obviously showing that he's here to challenge still. Here to challenge the top. And Santoro, ooh, bother as I, yeah, Santoro still at the top of this order. Now this is an outlap for Omar Barbara. He's just coming through the final corner, but Barbara about to go on to another lap. One thing that strikes me about Barbara's driving style a lot of the time is just how smooth he can be. Let's ride on board with him on this lap, actually. As just as I say, he's obviously a smooth driver. He has a lockup as he goes into the corner. But oh well. You'll notice he jinked wide before he turned right there into Gerlachbocht, and that's just to give himself the ideal run through the corner, carrying the most speed that he can, showing that Barbara is an experienced sim racer and knows what he's doing. Not the quickest in the field, but he makes up for that in terms of his actual racecraft and his car control. It's rare that you ever see Omar Barbara making a big mistake. Again, another wheel snatch, another wheel lock up through the right hander there. But a lot of drivers have been doing so. And I can tell you that if I was driving this race, this wouldn't be the line that I'd be taking. However, I could learn from this line because it is probably better than the line I'd be taking. He goes wider on the entrance of the corners, and then just hooks it in and gets the run out of the corners. That's the sign of a driver who knows what he's doing. And in a Seat TCR as well, where it's all about momentum and all about keeping those front tyres from having to steer too tightly or understeer. That's especially important, as across the line goes Barbara, and it was a good lap, I was saying it was, and he goes up into third position now with a 1:42.775. So Barbara hooks together a good one and splits the Morning Stars Academy cars, goes to third. De Lorenzo's down to fourth now. And Barbara, of course, who has been the only driver to actually challenge the Morning Stars Academy cars for the podium so far this season, has shown again in practice that he can challenge here, and goes ahead of De Lorenzo so far. Ten minutes to go now in the official practice session, and it's still Santoro at the top, but it's not a straight Morning Stars Academy 1-2-3, because Pasquale and De Lorenzo have been split by Omar Barbara, who is third. Hello to Stefano Presenti, who says "Go Morning Stars." So we have a Morning Stars fan in the YouTube chat. I'm sure you won't be let down today. Morning Stars on form again, as we expected they would be, and good to see you following us and following them. And we have a few other people watching this as well. That's good to see. Welcome, one and all. And this is round 3 of the World Pro Racing Seat TCR Summer Championship. This time from the circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands. I got told off the other day actually for calling the Netherlands Holland. Apparently, only part of the Netherlands is Holland, which I never realised before. Thing is, we just tend to refer to the whole thing as Holland here in England, but we are indeed in the Netherlands. I'm not sure whether the circuit Zandvoort is in a part of the Netherlands that they'd call Holland, but never mind. I was told that by a Dutch person, so I have no reason to disbelieve it. Just watching Nelson Abranosa here. He's going quicker than his personal best so far. He's currently in 9th position, hoping to move a couple of places up the order. He's just got right-handers to go in this lap, Just behind him, on track, is Luigi Di Lorenzo, who's improving by about 0.3 of a second and challenging Omar Barbera for third. But Abranosa there, just completing his lap, and he improves his time but stays 9th. What about Di Lorenzo? Di Lorenzo also improves his time. But it was invalid, so that lap did not count. As a result, he will not have any quicker lap time registered, so Di Lorenzo will have to go again. A lap time, of course, may be invalidated because of a track limits infringement. However, I struggle to see how a driver would cut a track and improve here. Maybe it was over the inside of the chicane, possibly. It doesn't have to be a massive cut to trigger the track limits infringement, only a slight one. But Di Lorenzo may have just cut it a bit too fine there or something like that. I don't know, I didn't see it. And Di Lorenzo is in 4th place at the minute, as Justina Salducas also puts in an invalid lap time. Pieter Grobler there moves up into 9th position, jumps Nelson Abranosa. So Grobler up to 9th, jumps Nelson Abranosa. Abranosa not going any quicker on this lap, so won't be able to respond to that just yet. And it was a personal best in both sectors from Grobler, so he found a bit of pace on that last lap there. A good jump from Grobler there. Good run out of the penultimate corner there for Di Lorenzo. Does he get it hooked up through the final corner? This might challenge his best. He's got a slipstream from the car in front. It's going to be close. And as he crosses the line, yes, it's an improvement, but he stays in 4th position. That was an improvement. It was 4th place. In fact, that was actually quicker than his invalid lap, so that's good to see. Luigi Di Lorenzo, 4th place, 0.180 behind our top driver. It's pretty close up the front there. I think pole position is going to be contested by at least 4 drivers here. Wouldn't it be a massive upset if Omar Barbera took pole? That would be quite something. And he's actually on a good lap here. Remember, this isn't qualifying yet, but if Barbera was to improve his lap enough in qualifying and take pole position, he would be the first driver to top a session and not race for Morningstar's Academy in this whole field. So everyone wants that. Everyone wants that awarded to them. And I think out of this whole field, if someone's going to do it, it's going to be Omar Barbera. Barbera very quick in a touring car. And he is improving this lap, maybe by enough to go to the top here. He's got a car ahead of him, but maybe they can just drag him across the line. Through the final corner he goes. He's losing a bit of pace actually in the final corner there, in the turbulent air of the car ahead. I think he's backing off to go into the pits, yes. So Barbera maybe could have improved on that lap, but instead he backed off and pitted. Obviously didn't have enough fuel to go around again, which is a shame, but it does show us that Barbera may well have more up his sleeve. Or maybe it was that the reason he was going faster was because he was so low on fuel and the car was so light that it was basically at its optimum performance. However, couldn't set the lap because it needed to make a pit stop. But whatever the case, Barbera may have more up his sleeve. He's 3rd at the minute, but he's in the pits. Ooh, quickest first sector of anyone from Daniele Pasquale here. Pasquale, fastest of anyone in the first sector. Remember, he's less than a 10th of a second off the fastest lap so far. And if he can deliver this, this is looking well and truly first place, top class. Down the back straight goes Daniele Pasquale towards the chicane. There really should be a sector timing beacon about there to separate the lap into 3 sectors, but oh well. Now out of the chicane he goes, and around the final 2 corners. Daniele Pasquale about to finish and complete the lap. If he can avoid the grass on the outside, which he does do, then Pasquale is looking well and truly on form for first place. This is going to be very quick. It's a 1:42.384. That's 0.261 ahead of his teammate Santoro. And Pasquale fastest in both sectors there, as the top of the order absolutely wrapped up. And Pasquale sets a blistering lap. That's the fastest we've seen at this track yet. So Daniele Pasquale sets a very, very fast lap here at Zandvoort. He's at the top of the order, ahead of Santoro and Barbara. And can anyone react to that? We have just over 2 minutes remaining to see. Maybe they can react to it, maybe they can't. We'll have to see. So less than 2 minutes remaining in this official practice session now before we start qualifying. And again, Pasquale goes quickest in the first sector. Pasquale again challenging for the top time. He's already got the top time wrapped up, but he wants to go quicker still. Santoro is going to get one more chance at displacing him. It's not essential in practice. You don't need to be at the top of the order to do well in qualifying or the race, but it's always good to play mind games with your opponent and just intimidate them in practice. However, Pasquale's second sector hasn't been good, and he's not going to be setting a quickest lap here. However, the lap he did set would still be quick enough to give him the top of the order, even if he hadn't set his previous lap. So Pasquale very quick here. And we now have less than a minute remaining in this session. It looks to me as if we're certainly going to get one more attempt from Danilo Santoro here at the end of the session. Senio Alpha there goes quicker than his personal best first sector. So Alpha challenging for the top 5, he's 6th. Wouldn't it be great if he got a top 5 finish on his very first session? His very first official session with World Pro Racing. That would really show that he's here, and here for the better. As Santoro starts his final lap of the session, incidentally. Senio Alpha now coming out of the chicane and towards the final corner. As the practice time ticks to 0, he's going to see the checkered flag this time around. Oh, he clips the curb and loses a bit of time there. This isn't going to be quicker. I think it might be quicker though for Nelson Abranosa, who goes faster than his best in the first sector. And Alpha knows he's messed up the lap and he hits the car. And Pietro Grobler also sets a good first sector. Abranosa about a 10th down on his best so far. He's just coming through the second sector. Oh, as Santoro goes fastest of anyone in the first. So although the checker flag is out, we're still absolutely not done with this session yet. Abranosa has 2 corners to go. And Santoro's backed off, so Santoro won't be going quicker. What about Abranosa? He's 10th at the minute. And he's about to jump higher up, I think. I don't know whether he's going to be quick enough for 9th or not. We'll see. He's going to cross the line and doesn't go 9th, but he does improve on his lap. A couple of guys also completing laps, but no drivers who look as if they're going to go faster. Michael Machea pits. And that is the end of this practice session. Matthias McCarthy also returning to the pits now. Danilo Santoro is the only... oh, Abranosa is going to crash. He very nearly crashed. Spun the car and immediately exited to the pits. And Santoro is doing the... Well, he's driven back to the pits. Back he goes. And now we are about to start the official qualifying session. Here we go. Official qualifying will start now in less than a minute. And there we will really see the true form of these drivers. Pietro Grobler's gone. Where's Grobler gone? He's left the server. Hopefully he makes it back in. But we've lost Pietro Grobler. He was 9th in practice there. And I'm not sure why he's left. But in qualifying, we're about to see the true pace of the drivers and where they're going to qualify for this event. Incidentally, Stefano Presenti says he's not just a fan of Morning Stars Academy, he's actually the coach. So, Stefano, obviously you've coached your drivers well, because they're right up the top of the order, 1, 2, and 4 in the last session, 1, 2, and 3 in the championship. You've done a very good job with that team. I'm sure you're proud with it. Dodo 500 also says hello everyone. Hello Dodo, and then he says Forza Santoro, who went to the top of the practice times. Indeed, Santoro, the top driver on the grid in this event so far. Can anyone displace him? We're about to find out. Official qualifying has been running for half a minute now, and I'm just waiting to see who the first driver was that went out on track. I wasn't looking as the cars left. We're going to see the first sector time coming in very shortly, and then I think we should follow that driver as they go onto their first lap, and we'll have another look at this track at qualifying speed. It's going to be Gianluigi Carrao. No, he's just been passed. No, who's passed him? I'm not sure. Someone is ahead of Gianluigi Carrao. Is that Matthias McCarthy? I'm trying to work out who's first in the order here, and I'm not quite sure.
It's actually Daniele Pasquali.
Yes it is. Okay, so Pasquale was the first out. Now I'm not sure why his sector time wasn't registered. That threw me off a bit. But anyway, let's ride on board with Daniele Pasquale, who was top of the practice time. I said it was Santoro a couple of minutes ago. It wasn't. It was Pasquale. But Pasquale is going to be the first onto a hot lap here. And as we get this underway, this is the top driver showing us how it's done. Well, not with that great lock up into turn 1 there, but then again, almost all drivers do down there. Watch the right-hander as he flicks it in through Gerlach Bocht, and then the left-hander is Hugenholtz Bocht, the hairpin. Very tight corner, sometimes an overtaking opportunity, but only if you're very brave and not at all clumsy. If you're clumsy, you're going to get caught out here. This is Ron Slotemacher Bocht at the top of the hill. The car gets very light over the crest before you dip down into Schiedlach. The right-hander, and the gravel trap beckons on the left-hand side of the track. You see it for miles because it's so steep. That steepness often rips the splitter off these cars as they run through it. In reality, because gravel does that, and these splitters are very, very low. Of course, the car as low to the ground as the teams can get it to maximise the effect of ground effect, but that often means that if they have an off, it causes a lot of damage. Through the final 2 corners comes Pasquale. This is Arie Luyendyk Bocht. You need to get a good run here, because then you go onto a very long straight, and as he exits that long straight, he's about to put in the first flying lap of anyone. And Daniele Pasquale sets a 1:42.332. That's faster than his practice time. So Pasquale there sets a fastest time of anyone in any session so far. And that's an amazing lap. Santoro goes to second. Di Lorenzo goes to second now, Demutum Santoro. Santoro had set a 1:42.770. That's been beaten by Di Lorenzo with a 1:42.680, which is 0.348 behind Pasquale. So over 0.3 per second separate first and second, and I'm not surprised with a lap like that from Pasquale. We picked a very good one to watch on board, because that was blistering there, utterly blistering. And Omar Barbara very nearly gets third, sets exactly the same lap as Danilo Santoro to the 1,000th of a second, but ends up being classified as fourth because Santoro set his lap first. However, Santoro sets the fastest first sector of anyone. He's going faster and might well challenge for pole position with this lap. We've seen that Santoro is one of the quickest drivers in the field. He's top of the championship so far. And as he comes through the final sector, both him and Di Lorenzo are both launching real attacks on their lap at the minute. And Santoro is going to set his first, so as he comes through the final corner, Barbara also improving in 4th place there. Santoro and Barbara and Di Lorenzo all improving their laps. Out of the final corner comes Santoro though. He's going about 0.3 of a second up. This might challenge pole position if he gains enough time on the straight with a good exit. Oh, it's less than 1/10 of a second off. Santoro goes second. It's a 1:42.413. Very close to the pole position, but not quite there. However, he's already pushing it again for another attempt. So Santoro wasn't quite there. Neither was Di Lorenzo. He didn't even improve his best lap there. But Barbara looks as if he might be about to go up to 3rd. So Barbara has 2 corners to go, and he looks as if he's going to jump up to 3rd. Maybe 2nd at this rate. Through the final corner he goes. Omar Barbara gets a decent exit. It's not going to be 2nd, but he will go up to 3rd here. And it is 3rd. It's a 1:42.634. So Barbara up to 3rd, where he was in official practice. And that is very impressive there for Omar Barbara. To split again the Morning Stars Academy cars at the top of the times to stop them from being a 1-2-3. Cyril Saucy, currently 4th in the championship and best of the rest outside of Morning Stars, is improving his best lap so far. He's in 8th place. He's a driver that tends to race better than he qualifies. And Saucy now getting a slipstream from a driver who looks like a Morning Stars Academy driver. It is one, it's Di Lorenzo. So maybe Di Lorenzo helping Saucy on this lap without even trying to. Saucy improving his lap by a very long way here. Definitely going to jump up 1 position, 7th. Could jump up more here. Out to the final corner now comes Cyril Saucy down the straight. He won't get a slipstream as Di Lorenzo pulls into the pits, and Cyril Saucy does go up into 7th. He jumps Gianluigi Carrao to go up into 7th. So that's a change. As Pieter Grobler now moves up into 9th place. That's where he practiced as well, where he finished practice as well. In fact, the top 10 is now in exactly the same order as they qualified in. As they were in after practice. In fact, the only change in the whole order is that Michael Abranoza and Michael Machev swapped places, and even they're close in terms of times. So the order looking very much like it did in practice here. Almost exactly the same, aside from little change there. Now a couple of drivers going on to new laps. We're now less than 7 minutes from the end of the session, and it's Pasquale leading from Santoro, then Barbara, Di Lorenzo, Salducas, Alfa, Saucy, Carrao, Grobler and Abranoza. Those are the top 10, and then it's Zara, Abranoza, that's the second Abranoza, Michael as opposed to Nelson, and then Macher and McCarthy being the 14 drivers in this field. And Pasquale actually on a quick lap. It's not quite as quick as his best so far. Oh, he's backing off. So Pasquale there backs off towards the chicane as someone goes off ahead of him. And that is it Carrao? Yeah, no. Wasn't Carrao. It was actually Matthias McCarthy. Looks to be an improvement here from Michael Abranoza, possibly. Needs to get the final 2 corners hooked up. He's not going to move up the order though. Sandro Zara has enough of a gap over him. a massive gap over him, in fact. And actually, Abrunozza made a slight mistake there, and that's not going to be an improvement on his lap by the look of it. Indeed, it won't be. And he will have to go for another one. Cyril Saucy also making a mistake there and not going any quicker. Losing a lot of time there, actually. 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Not much opportunity left for the order to change. There isn't much time at all. And that means that the drivers need to really push now. And only now. Oh, fastest first sector of anyone there for Luigi Di Lorenzo. So Di Lorenzo there going fastest of anyone. Santoro also on a quick lap that might challenge pole. Who's ahead in the lap? Santoro is. So I'll watch Santoro's first. This is a challenge for pole. He gets it through the chicane nicely. Now he has two more corners to go, the final two. Both right-handers. Loses a little bit of time through the first apex. What about the second? I think he's made one too many slight mistake there. Only very slight mistakes, but not an improvement for Santoro just. Yeah, indeed it wasn't. Di Lorenzo now going 2 tenths up on his best. 2 tenths up from here would be third place by a long way. So Di Lorenzo currently fourth, and across the line he goes second. Oh, big improvement from Di Lorenzo. Up to second. It's a 142.407. That's fourth. That's 6 thousandths of a second ahead of Santoro. It's another 1-2-3 for the Morning Stars Academy cars so far. And they're all separated by less than a tenth of a second. It's very close up the front of the order. Now, can Barbara get in there as well? He needs a big improvement of almost 3 tenths of a second. So, Pasquale, Di Lorenzo and Santoro at the top of the order in that order at the start here. Di Lorenzo seems to usually be the one who misses out in qualifying. He's qualified third on both occasions behind his two teammates. However, second so far and challenging for pole. Cyril Saucy now getting his lap sorted out through the final corner. This is going to be an improvement for him. I don't think he's going to jump up the order though. He's seventh so far. And Saucy, as he crosses the line, does improve but doesn't go up the order. Still seventh. So 7th place there for Cyril Saucy, the French driver in our field. It's a good day to be Italian though, as the 3 Italians again at the top of the order, as we're used to seeing them. Very quick drivers, and the 3 championship leaders at this stage in the championship. Pretty much untouchable. Ooh, mistake there I just saw from Nelson Abrunozza, running very wide into the chicane, losing several tenths out of that. Less than 2 minutes now until the end of this session. Di Lorenzo might not get another attempt here. He's in the pits, needs to make it out now. Di Lorenzo might not be... Oh, he is exiting the pits, so Di Lorenzo will get one more chance. Needs to push though to actually get across the line on this outlap. And this will be his very last attempt at pole position. Needs to have a perfect outlap, pretty much do a hot lap on his outlap. As Pasquale and Santoro, I believe, will also get one more attempt. And ahead on track out of this group is Santoro, I believe. Gianluigi Carau in the second sector. Oh, loses a bit of pace there. Gains it back on the apex and then loses it again on the exit. I'm afraid to say. Still 14 drivers have set laps here. And Daniele Pasquale sets his personal best first sector. So Pasquale pushing at the end. He feels the pressure from his teammates and from Barbara. Through the second sector he goes. Pasquale on his last attempt. He won't get another one after this. As the checker flag is coming out in 20 seconds, he's switching between being up on his time and down on it. He's right on it actually. Setting a very similar lap so far to his personal best. He has 2 corners to go now, as Santoro has started his lap in time, as has Lorenzo. Through the final corner comes Daniele Pasquale. This looks like it will be an improvement for the top of the order. Daniele Pasquale on a very quick lap here. Comes across the line. It's as fast as second sector of anyone, and the overall lap is a 142.292. That's 0.115 ahead of De Lorenzo in second. But De Lorenzo is retaliating here, as is Santoro. The 2 other Morning Stars Academy cars both lapping quickly so far. Santoro ahead on track. His first sector is not his personal best. It's close, but it's not quite. Although he's still switching between being up or down on his lap. Fastest first sector of anyone from De Lorenzo. He's charging. This is a very tense end to the qualifying session between the 3 Morning Stars Academy cars. De Lorenzo's registered as being 0.2 of a second up on his lap. Let's keep with Santoro though. He's going to set his lap first, and he could still challenge as well. Santoro out of the chicane, still on it. He has 2 corners to go, and he's registered as up on his split. This is still a challenge for pole for Santoro. Out to the final corner he goes. This is completely flat. He's still up. Santoro is challenging out to the final corner and down the final straight. Where's this going to put him? He goes second. What about De Lorenzo? Can De Lorenzo demote both of them? De Lorenzo down the final straight. Is this an improvement? Oh, he goes second. Pasquale maintains the pole position. So Pasquale keeps pole position in a very tense end to the session. 0.046 is the gap between Pasquale and De Lorenzo at the end. And then 0.095 between the whole of the top 3. Santoro is third. It's Pasquale from De Lorenzo from Santoro. Then Barbara is the best of the rest in fourth. Still less than half a second off them. Less than 0.4 of a second off them. Justina Salducas is fifth. Then it's Senio Alfa, Cyril Sorsi, Gianluigi Carai, Pieter Grobler, Nelson Abranosa, Sandro Zara, Michael Abranosa, Michael Macher, and Matthias McCarthy. And what an intense end to the session. It is another Morning Stars Academy 1, 2, 3. And Stefano Presenti can be very, very happy with that one. Stefano's drivers 1, 2, and 3 in this session. And a very good lap from Daniele Pasquale puts him right at the top.
So we're going for a short commercial break now, and we'll be back with the race very soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
And here we are back for this third round of the World Pro Racing TCR SEAT TCR Summer Championship. We're like 46 seconds away from the start of the first race today. On to you, Joshua.
So we are back, and there's 40 seconds until the start of the race. Again, running down the order, it's Daniele Pasquale, followed by Luigi Di Lorenzo, Danilo Santoro, Omar Barbara, Justina Salducas, Senio Alfa, Cyril Sorsi, Gianluigi Carrao, Pietro Grobler, Nelson Abranosa, Sandro Zara, Michael Abranosa, Michael Macher, and Matthias McCarthy. Those are 14 drivers. They're on the grid, and we have 15 seconds now until the lights go out. Here come the lights. We have 6 of them. When they extinguish, the race will be underway. They're going to light up now. We have 3, 4, 5, and 6. And go! The lights are out and we're underway. Daniele Pasquale is at the front, and he leads this race from Di Lorenzo and Santoro. Di Lorenzo tucks over to the left and tries to get up his inside, but brakes later does Pasquale. Pasquale leads into turn 1, followed by Di Lorenzo, Santoro, and Barbara. Those are the top 4. Oh, car in the wall heavily. Car in the wall heavily in the background. Now, who was that? I'm going to try to work it out. They stopped, and it was, I have a feeling, was it Senio Alfa? It was. So Senio Alfa, the new driver, that's why I didn't recognise him, has been into the wall heavily at the start, and may well have severe damage from that. There's been an accident already. But at the front, all clean. Pasquale, Di Lorenzo, Santoro, the 3 Morning Stars Academies leading us over the crest of the hill. This is going to be a 15-lap race here, I should remind you. 15 laps, and they're still pretty much in order here. Actually, we've lost, well, Abranosa has lost a couple of places. He may have been involved with Alfa there, losing a couple of places, but we'll update you on the actual order at the end of this lap. I didn't see quite what happened with Alfa. I just saw a car being tipped sideways on the exit of Tarzan Bocht and going into the tyre wall, spinning round and stopping, and that was Senio Alfa, who was making his debut in this championship. Did well in qualifying, qualified 6th out of the 14 drivers, so well inside the top. Well, I say well inside the top half, 1 place inside the top half. But a good opening attempt. Out to the final corner come the field, and the lap, the order at the end of the first lap is Pasquale from Di Lorenzo, then Santoro, Barbara, Salducas, Sorsi, Zara, Carrao, Grobler, then Abranosa, Macher, Michael Abranosa, McCarthy, and Alfa. The 14 cars have all made it through, despite Alfa going heavily into the barrier, and the gap for the lead is 0.6 of a second. 0.6 of a second separate the top 2, and then behind them another 0.6 of a second separate second from third. So still the Morning Stars Academy cars close to the front of the field, but they're getting away from the rest.
Actually, we'll be reviewing the crash that happened in the first corner of the race later on after the race.
Yeah, good to see the stewards on the case. We have live stewards here, but they're going to be reviewing this after the race, and hopefully we will understand more about the results of that after the event. But anyway, Alfa continues at the back of the pack. He's already right on the back of Matthias McCarthy here, trying to find a way through. It's a difficult track to overtake at that though, and he will be waiting for an opportunity. I'll see what the gaps are when they come to the end of this lap, because they're still very close, pretty much all the way through the order. I'm interested in 4th place between Barbara and Salducas as well. They were separated by less than 0.4, or just over 0.4 of a second, as they crossed the line last time around. This time the gap for the lead is 0.4 of a second. Well, not 4, but less than 5. 5 if you round it up. It's 0.495 separating first and second. Now, did we have any order changes at the end of this lap? Yeah, Senio Alfa did manage to get past Matthias McCarthy. The next driver on his radar is Michael Abranosa, just ahead of him, and he's just over half a second behind him, but we're very close for the race lead between Di Lorenzo and Pasquale. A proper battle for the front here. We have 3 for the lead here at Zandvoort. Still sort of 4 or 5 for the lead, but Barbara and Salducas have been dropping back a bit. And I think Sorcy still stands a good chance here, but he needs to make his way through. Again, he races better than he qualifies, so I'm expecting Sorcy to make up a couple of positions here. But anyway, down the back straight they go. Surely not into the chicane. This doesn't tend to be an overtaking opportunity. It tends to be if you're right on the gearbox of the car ahead. Di Lorenzo wasn't quite. He was close, but not quite on the back of Pasquale at the front. Again, the way you tell the Morning Stars Academy cars apart is that the red wing mirrors are Pasquale, the yellow wing mirrors are Di Lorenzo, and the blue wing mirrors are Santoro. Now, as they head down the start-finish straight, this is the real overtaking opportunity if you can get enough of a slipstream from the car ahead. The gap has come out to about 0.6 of a second between the top 2 again, and it wasn't close enough as they headed down into turn 1. I've worked out you need to be about 0.3 of a second behind the car in front to make a move down into turn 1, but some drivers are slightly more brave than that, and some of them foolishly. Incidentally, oh, crash at the back. Alfa and Abranosa are involved. Alfa and Abranosa have crashed into the pit wall heavily. They both, well, no, I say they both got going. Alfa has. Michael Abranosa is still in the wall and is pulling off to the side, and that might well be race over for Michael Abranosa. He's in the grass. Does he get it back onto the track? He does, and I can imagine he has severe steering damage. I didn't see what happened between the two. Oh my word, look at his steering damage. Right on board with that car as he goes down the straight. That is pointing 45 degrees top left, and he goes into the wall again. That is undrivable. That's surely race over for Michael Abranosa. He's trying to recover it to pits. Needs to slow right down here. What about Senio Alfa? He also has very bad steering damage, I'm afraid.
So actually we'll be definitely reviewing this accident between Senio Alfa and Michael Abranosa, which could carry a very, very heavy and hefty penalty for Senio from what I've seen now, but we'll be reviewing the full action after the race.
Okay, well, I'm going to look back on the stream. It sounds like you. Oh no, you didn't see it. But from what I saw, as soon as the camera switched to it, they were just spinning around and crashing into things. And Alfa has now been involved in 2 accidents in this race. I don't yet know if they were his fault or not. That needs to be reviewed. But Alfa has been involved in 2 accidents now, and unfortunately that means his race has gone from bad to worse here. But again, we don't know that it was his fault for certain. We'll have to look back at that. Oh, look at Nelson Abranosa now going to the inside of Gianluigi Carrao. Contact as they go through turn 1. Carrao forced to the outside, almost into the gravel, and Abranosa gains the position, but Carrao won't be very happy about that. Carrao now to the inside as they go through the right-hander, but not quite making it stick. Here is Hugenholtzbocht through the left-hander. I said it was an overtaking opportunity. Sometimes it really isn't, as over the grass there goes Abranosa, and Abranosa does keep the place, but there was definitely contact between the 2 of them there through Shivlak. Again, a lock-up from Abranosa. He's trying to get away now from Carrao. And that was the move for 8th position there. Not a very clean one, but it was a move for 8th position nonetheless. Incidentally, Alfa and Abranosa both have returned to the pit lane, unsurprisingly. Alfa gets going now. Abranosa still in the pits. They're going to be a long way behind after this. Unfortunately, big damage repairs for both cars. However, the steering on Alfa's car has now been repaired, and out of the pits goes Abranosa. That's also been repaired. So at least they are back in this race. Whatever happened to the 2 of them, and the gap for lead, incidentally, still less than 0.8 of a second. So still close, but not quite close enough for a move still. And Danilo Santoro has actually been dropping back a little bit over the last couple of laps. Abranosa has been getting away from Correa. That gap is 1.2 seconds. So Abranosa is long gone from there. And I think the main battle on track is now the lead battle again.
Actually, now the pit window is open for 3 laps. The window is open for 3 laps.
Yeah, so the pit window now has opened. We're on lap 5 rather. We have 10 laps to go. We're on lap 10. The leader is on lap 6. That means that the pit window has indeed opened this lap. We're on lap 6, and that means they will be open until lap 9. Now, the pit window was a very interesting one back at Brands Hatch, because of course, we had a problem in that the pit window would close when the leader completes lap 9, not when you complete lap 9. That means that if you tried to pit on lap 9 and the leader crossed the line before you, you were instantly disqualified, which was a problem, and a couple of drivers were caught out by that. So the drivers will have to be wary of that now. And well, Pasquale and Di Lorenzo stay out on this lap. I expected they would. Slight mistake from Pasquale. He locks up and goes slightly wide. Into the pits goes Omar Barbara. So our first stopper is Barbara in 4th place. There's already a car in the pits actually. Saucy's in, as is Zara. And actually, I think that car was one of the camera cars, so that doesn't count, I'm afraid. But yeah, a couple of cars pitting on that lap there. Now, did Alfa and Abranosa pit for that damage repairs on lap 6? I don't think they did, so they're going to have to pit again. Now, we're just over 11 minutes through the race, and before the pit window, the order was Pasquale, Di Lorenzo, Santoro, Barbara, Salducas, Saucy, Abranosa, Zara, Carrao, Grobler, Macher, McCarthy, Alfa, and Abranosa. That was the order before the pit window. Actually, I think swap Carrao and Zara there, because Carrao, I think, lost that place through pitting. He's come out just behind another car there. Is that Macher? I think it might be. Now, who will pit on this second lap? This will be a wise lap for everyone else to pit. The leaders, probably everyone down to Santoro, could stay out another lap. But I would certainly pit if I was anyone else. And into the pits now comes Pasquale, and Di Lorenzo follows him in. So the top 2 are in. Santoro's dropped a long way back. Oh wait, did he pit last lap? I think he might have done. No, he's pitting this lap, so something bad happened to Santoro there. Maybe he had a spin or a mistake or something like that. But Santoro dropped a very long way back on that lap, actually lost a place to Justinas Salducas, who's also in the pit. So a problem happened to Santoro there. I'm going to look back on the stream to see if I can spot what happened. But yeah, Santoro dropped a long way back there, I'm afraid. And I have no idea quite what happened. It was in the middle part of the lap, so I think it was down into the left-hand hairpin, not Hugenholt's box, but the unnamed one just before the chicane, before the backstraight, before the chicane rather. Yeah, the timing sheet just suddenly registered Santoro losing a place, so Santoro is down into effectively 4th. Oh, and Di Lorenzo's got out ahead of Pasquale, so Di Lorenzo has jumped Pasquale for the lead of the race. So there's a change, and Di Lorenzo leads this race now. And just like last time, he's fought through to the lead. And yeah, he did that in the pits. He just got going just ahead of Pasquale. They almost made contact on pit exit. I saw that on the stream just now. I should point out I don't get the TV cameras, which means that I won't have seen that live. But I wasn't expecting there to be a change, but there was. And that was probably just because Pasquale would have been slightly more cautious than Di Lorenzo on pit entry. And Di Lorenzo gained the time and jumped Pasquale in the pits, going ahead of him. Now Pasquale has work to do to get back ahead if he can. Through the final corner they go, and Di Lorenzo is going to now be registered for the first time at the top of the order. Now, was anyone disqualified? I have a feeling Nelson Abranoza was, I'm afraid. And maybe Senior Alpha as well, unless they're in the pits for a stop. Oh, Machair and Machair goes side by side there with someone, trying to work out who that is from the order. So that's Cyril Saucy, it is. So Cyril Saucy there's just been passed, or just passed. Struggling to work this order out. I'll definitely get that when we cross the line. I don't think it was Saucy actually. Okay, so the order after the pit window is Di Lorenzo, from Pasquale, then Barbara, Saucy, Santoro, Zara, and then Carrao, Machair, Salducas, waiting for the next car to come through. I'm afraid we've lost Pieter Grobler. So Grobler is out, and McCarthy is 10th, and then also out are Alpha and Nelson Abranoza. Michael Abranoza is still running. He is 11th. However, Nelson Abranoza is not still running after being caught out by the pit window, I'm afraid.
Actually, I think Nelson Abranoza, something happened, I think, or he ran out of fuel before actually pitting, and then he went back to pits.
Okay, so Abranoza may well have had another issue, possibly fuel related, and that's a shame for Abranoza. But whatever the case, we've lost him from the race, as well as we've lost Abranoza, not Abranoza, Alpha, and Grobler. Now, what are the gaps? The gap for the lead last time round was just over half a second. There's slipstream involved here. It's close, and I think it's slightly too far back for a move in. Well, that's quite far back. And there is no move into turn 1 as a result. A slight mistake under pressure there from Di Lorenzo. Pasquale will be charging for the rest of the race. The pit window's closed, and we have 6 laps remaining in this race now. We're close for 4th place. Oh, Saucy's jumped Santoro. So that was the move I saw earlier on, which confused me. And it was Saucy passing Santoro, but Santoro now attacking him again. He has the inside line as they go over the crest of the hill. And Saucy keeps it for now. What about round the outside of Hugenholtz box? Surely that's not an overtaking opportunity, and it wasn't. Santoro goes wide and doesn't get the place. Now runs slightly over the grass. So Santoro's having a bit of a torrid time here. He's dropped 2 positions. Saucy's got past him. And that was the change that confused me earlier on. And Salducas got many places in the pit window as well.
So actually, it seems that Nelson Abranoza had some, he had a brake pedal failure on his sim.
Okay, so we had diving up the inside is Santoro for 4th, and he gets the place. That was ambitious, but he pulls the move there into the right-hander. Santoro up into 4th position. Saucy trying to get it back with the switchback on the exit, gets a better run, but now has to tuck behind Santoro down the straight. Can he launch it in for the chicane as we head down the straight? This is still the battle for 4th position. Lock up from Santoro, goes over the inside curb, keeps the place. Santoro in the number 313 ahead of Saucy. And still heavy attack though. 0.3 of a second separates Daniele from Luigi at the front. And he took a look out of the slipstream. Pieter Grobler says, so why was I disqualified when I did pit on that lap? Well, I'm afraid if the leader crosses the line and you haven't pitted yet, you get disqualified. So I think that's what happened to Pieter Grobler. It actually registered him as pitting on lap 8, which may have been just after the leader crossed the line, I'm afraid. I'm not quite sure what happened there because the game says he pitted, but I'm a bit confused by that. It also says Alpha pitted, and that might just be what it said when it teleported them back to the pits after the disqualification. But anyway, on that lap there, Salducas got past Machair. That's right position. Justinas Salducas gets 8 from Michael Machair. That was a change that just occurred when we weren't looking, and that was for 8th position. Still very close for the lead of the race though. Also close still for 4th between Santoro and Saucy. But I'm more interested in the lead battle here. as Pasquale is all over the back of De Lorenzo. He has 5 more laps to do it in, 4 more laps to do it in, if you don't count Wonder on now, because they're just coming to the end of this lap. De Lorenzo and Pasquale onto the main straight. What's the gap? Pasquale slipstreams De Lorenzo. The gap is 0.4 of a second. Pasquale actually pulling out of the slipstream quite a lot, maybe to see the braking zone, but that does mean he's not getting as much straight line speed as he could be doing. And the gap for 4th place is coming out, not significantly, but it is. Slight lock-up for De Lorenzo at the front. On the front right, I think. Pasquale is really applying pressure to him around the whole lap. One mistake, even the slightest mistake here from De Lorenzo, will give Pasquale the lead of this race. As they go through Schivlac. We are now over 20 minutes into this race here. 20 minutes have elapsed. And we have 4 laps remaining in this race. Of course, this is the longest sprint race we've had in the championship so far. The ones at Brands Hatch didn't quite reach 20 minutes. And these ones are going well over that. We're going to be more like 25 to 30 minutes by the end of this race. Pasquale still all over the back of De Lorenzo. De Lorenzo locks up slightly. Pasquale was actually showing himself to De Lorenzo's mirrors there, possibly trying to force his teammate into a mistake. They have enough of a gap to the car behind them to do that safely. They have enough of a gap to make a mistake and still be in 2nd place, because Barbara is 10 seconds behind our leader, Omar Barbara, who inherited 3rd place after Santuro's misfortunes. Now we're onto the main straight again, and the gap is less than 0.4 of a second. Is Pasquale going to challenge here? He's not close enough still, and this time it's his turn to have the wheel lock up into turn 1. De Lorenzo gets a better line through there. Pasquale's in the turbulent air behind him. Gap for 4th came down slightly as well, as again De Lorenzo locks up. Gonna have a look at that battle for 4th, because Source is obviously not giving up on it. Now, who's that behind them? That's a back marker. They've been lapped. It's actually not, Michael Abranosa there. Incidentally, Pietro Grobler typing in live chat is not supposed to happen. You're not actually allowed to do that, so a little bit immature there for Pietro Grobler, but I can understand his frustration suddenly being disqualified from the race and not understanding why. That happened to me once, actually. I was in an endurance race. I was in the middle of the night and I was just going out of the pits for a stint. I turned my headlights on. I made sure that the headlights were on, and then 10 seconds later the game disqualified me for having my headlights off, which I found a bit bizarre. But I managed to get the server admin to add me back into that race, only after we'd lost a lap though, so unfortunately that did that for Micah in that race, seeing as it was only a 3-hour endurance race, so we lost a lot of time in that, I'm afraid. But back to this race, the gap for the lead, 0.5 of a second, half a second as they cross the line. It's still very close. We have 2 laps to go now. This is the penultimate lap. Pasquale doesn't have much opportunity to overtake De Lorenzo. He needs to use this lap to get right back onto the tail of him, really attack on this lap, and then get close enough to slipstream your way past towards turn 1 next time around. That needs to be what Pasquale does on this lap. That's going to be his last opportunity pretty much. Yes, you can sometimes have an opportunity after that in the lap, but it's very difficult here at Zandvoort. It's a tough track for overtaking, a very old school circuit, which is going to come into play in the second race actually, where the top 6 order will be reversed, meaning the faster drivers will have to fight their way through. And that's going to be difficult for them. Oh, move for the lead! Pasquale launches to the inside. I wasn't expecting him to do it there. And he goes wide on the exit. They're still side by side. De Lorenzo gets the switchback and goes back through into the lead of the race. Pasquale had a real swipe at him, and he was ahead for about 2 seconds. but he's dropped back behind him. Now he's back in the slipstream as they head down the back straight. Can he get towards the inside of the chicane? He's showing himself to the mirrors, but doesn't get close enough. Again, a lock-up for Di Lorenzo. He's going slightly wide, and Pasquale's still right there. Now Pasquale needs to slipstream him down into turn 1. That's what Pasquale needs to do, and he knows that. He needs to go wider on the entry to the final corner, tighter on the exit, slingshot out, and get the slipstream. Here we go, out of the final corner. Get the speed advantage, and down the pit straight. What can Pasquale do here? The gap is less than half a second. He's not going to be close enough for a move down into turn 1, but we've seen on this lap that he can do it in other places. Again, a tire lockup for Di Lorenzo. He's really under pressure here on the final lap of this race. Wow, this is a tense battle for the lead. Daniele really launched it out of nowhere on the last lap. I wasn't expecting him to do that down into a corner, which isn't usually an overtaking opportunity, but he did, and it very nearly worked for him, although Pasquale was wise to it and did a very good job of holding him off. Incidentally, if they finish like this, Santoro will lose the lead of the championship. Pasquale will gain it. Already in this championship, the 3 Morning Stars cars are 1 win apiece. This will be Pasquale's 2nd win, and it'll all be down to who can succeed in the 2nd race here. But Pasquale not close enough. Oh, he's made a mistake. He's on the grass, and that might be Pasquale's last opportunity gone. He had a slight chance of getting the slipstream and getting past into the chicane. It wasn't a big one, but that is pretty much race over. Not Pasquale, I meant Di Lorenzo. So Pasquale pretty much has this race in the bag now, even though he has a slight lockup. I mean Di Lorenzo, what am I saying? Yeah, Pasquale made the mistake, Di Lorenzo is ahead. So yeah, I was right the first time. Why am I doubting myself? Through the final corner, the final 2 corners now, comes Luigi Di Lorenzo. Again, locks up a tyre. He's leading the race. He has 1 corner to go. Final corner. And Luigi Di Lorenzo has just beaten his teammate in a straight fight to the flag. Luigi Di Lorenzo holds off Daniele Pasquale and wins the race. 2nd is Pasquale. He's over a second back now. It's 1.023. The winning margin after that mistake. Still an extremely close race. 3rd place is going to be Omar Barbera. So Barbera claims his 2nd podium in a row and prevents a 1-2-3 for Morning Stars Academy. 4th is Danilo Santoro, who mysteriously dropped back in the pit window. Cyril Saucy is 5th position. 6th is going to be Sandro Zara. Where did Zara come from? He qualified, I think, 11th. So Zara has really made up many positions in this race. Zara is 6th. There we go. He will be thrilled with that result. Gianluigi Carrao is going to be 7th. He emerges from the final corner now. Gianluigi Carrao will be 7th place here as he crosses the line. And Justina Salducas will be 8th after 15 laps of racing. 9th will be Michael Macher. 10th will be Matthias McCarthy. He has a couple of corners to go. So Matthias McCarthy will just be crawling through the chicane now in 10th place. 11th place has already gone to the lapped Michael Abranosa. But the last driver on the lead lap is going to be Matthias McCarthy here. He comes through the final 2 corners now. The number 20. And Matthias McCarthy claims 10th position in this race out of the 11 finishers. There we go, crossing the line now after 27 minutes 50 seconds 0.073 of racing. Michael Abranosa was 11th but a lap down, and then we had 3 retirements in Pietro Grobler, Senio Alpha and Nelson Abranosa. A couple of incidents to research after the race to be looked back on by the stewards. Most of them involving Senio Alpha, I'm afraid to say, although we don't know if they're his fault. And now we have a very short wait time of less than a minute. Actually, I think we have just over 3 minutes now until the start of race 2, where the top 6 will be reversed, meaning Sandro Zara will be starting on pole position, followed by Cyril Saucy, Danilo Santoro, Omar Barbera, Daniele Pasquale, and the new championship leader, Luigi Di Lorenzo.
So we're going now for a short commercial break. We'll be back for the 2nd race very soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.
And here we're back for race 2 of round 3 of the World Pro Racing SEAT TCR Summer Championship. We're like 1 minute 20 seconds away from the start of the second race, and on to you now, Joshua. So it seems that Joshua's having a
I'm here.
welcome back. So yes, we're 57 seconds away from the start of the second race, where we see the top 6 have changed. Obviously reverse grid. We have Sandro Zara, Cyril Sossi, Danilo Santoro, Omar Barbara, Daniele Pasquali, and Luigi Di Lorenzo.
So following them is going to be Gianluigi Carrao in 7th. And then it will be Justinas Salducas, Michael Machar, Matthias McCarthy, Michael Abranosa, Senio Alpha, Pietro Grobler, and Nelson Abranosa at the start of this race. Incidentally, Grobler is registering ahead of Alpha for me here, so I think that's going to be the order that those two are starting. But now, indeed, we have just 15 seconds until the start of this race. 10 seconds, and the lights are going to start lighting up. Remember that when they extinguish, the race will be underway, and it is right now. Away we go, and the race is underway. Sandro Zara leading the line. Sandro Zara leading. Cyril Sossi gets a slower start, and Santoro might be up to second here. Santoro goes to the outside as we head towards turn 1. Oh, diving down the inside is Cyril Sossi, but he doesn't quite take a swipe at Zara. Zara leads us out to the corner, and the battle is still on for second place between Sossi and Santoro. Everyone makes it through cleanly. Santoro up to second. So Santoro up to second. This is looking good for that Morning Stars Academy driver. Barbara is splitting the other 2 Morning Stars Academy drivers, and I think that Pasquali is ahead of Di Lorenzo. Indeed, he is at the start here. Di Lorenzo's struggling a bit because he's behind Barbara at the start. So Pasquali's got past Barbara. Di Lorenzo hasn't quite, and that means that the order goes non-Morning Stars, Morning Stars, non-Morning Stars, Morning Stars, non-Morning Stars, Morning Stars, if that makes any sense, at the front. And now already Santoro is challenging for the lead of this race, and as just behind him, actually, up to third has gone Pasquali at the start there. Pasquali up to third, passing Sossi. Sossi fighting back on the inside, although won't be getting a chance there, and Santoro gets forced almost onto the grass there. Now Santoro has another chance. We head down towards the chicane on the first lap. He goes to the inside, leaves it late. Zara gets the corner first, so Zara keeps the lead. Santoro behind him for now, and third place still Pasquali. Now, who will challenge on the main straight? We're still very close. Well, we're even closer now, pretty much than after the first corner for the start. Pretty much the first 7 all stuck together as they exit the first corner, the final corner here. And as we cross the line, the gap for lead is 0.3 per second. Who's going to challenge? Pasquali takes a look, and as they go down into turn 1, no one can quite challenge. So still the order's the same. It's Zara, Santoro, Pasquali, Sossi, Barbara, Di Lorenzo. Santoro taking a look at the lead. Following Di Lorenzo is Carrao, Alpha up to 8th. Great start from Alpha. 13th to 8th on the first lap. And then it's Abranosa, Salduca, that's Nelson Abranosa, Salducas, McCarthy, Grobler, Machar, and then Michael Abranosa at the back. Looks as if something may have happened to Michael Abranosa because he lost 16 seconds on the first lap. Although the lead battle is the top 7 here. as Caray's really sticking with the top 6. And to the inside goes Santoro. That's half-hearted. Keeps it to the outside though. Surely he's not going to run all the way around the outside. He's going for the switchback. Zara covers it on the inside. And actually Santoro had to back up a little bit on the exit of the corner. Pasquale's taking a look. This is very tense at the start of the race. Zara holding it well, but Santoro now gets the inside line. If Zara can keep it though. Oh, he runs slightly onto the grass. He's going to... Oh, he tries to keep it on the road. There's slight contact with Santoro and Zara's off. Zara up on his side. And we saw it was going to end in tears, and it did. Santoro's lost many places, and up into the lead of the race goes Pasquale. And I'm afraid that was all... Well, I'm not sure quite whose fault it was, but that was Zara going a bit wide and onto the grass, and then not being able to brake in time and going into the side of Santoro's car. But you could argue that Santoro didn't give him space. Santoro, they're getting back past Omar Barbara through turn 1. But yeah, a big sort out there. Pasquale leads from Saucy, and then Santoro, Barbara, and then Carao, De Lorenzo, and Alpha. Zara is down to 10th, I'm afraid, and he will be disappointed by that, seeing as he had a real chance of at least a podium in that race. And I mean, it was going to be pretty much impossible to hold on for the win, but I've seen stranger things in the past, and he may well have held on for the lead of the race if no one had an opportunity to pass him. He would have been legendary if he'd done it, but it was never going to work. Although, yeah, I'm just going to have a look again on the stream at what happened down in the chicane on that lap. It was very unfortunate, and I think it was just Zara braking too late, going onto the grass on the outside, and then just getting locked together with Santoro. It was side-to-side contact, so it was pretty much a racing incident there, not really anyone's fault. And then unfortunately, as he came back across the track, inevitably, as he lost control in the grass, he ran up onto the side of Santoro's car, dropping Santoro a couple of places as well. But Santoro now already on the back of Cyril Saucy, challenging for second. Here he goes, and he's going to get his first real attempt down into turn 1 on this next lap, I believe. Here we go, down the straight, and as they cross the line, the gap between the two of them is pretty much nothing. It's less than 0.2 of a second, and already Santoro is going to the inside, leaving his braking later. Santoro on the inside of Saucy. Saucy tries to hold on around the outside. He might just manage it, you know, because as we head up the hill, he's still there. He's got a good run, but Santoro gets the place. So Santoro gets the place. He's in the background. Zara is actually losing another place now to Pieter Grobler. There's contact. Grobler's going off into the wall. So Pieter Grobler got together there with Sandro Zara and went off, and I didn't quite see how that happened, but as they came up the hill, they made contact, and Grobler was pitched off into the barrier. That was over 10th place, I'm afraid. So contact between the two of them. I might have a look at that on the stream as well, if I can see that. And it looks, no, unfortunately, we cut to it a bit late, but yeah, Grobler got involved with Zara at the top of the hill, and now has dropped pretty much to the back of this field. So, what about the big scrap behind Pasquale? It's Santoro leading, Santoro second from Saucy, and then Carao, Barbara, De Lorenzo and Alpha all involved there. Alpha up to 7th. Wow, he's getting involved in this lead battle from right at the back of the grid. Tell you what, if he gets a top 5 here, that will show that he really could have challenged in this race if he hadn't had his incidents in race 1. Remember, there is going to be another pit window in this race too, so let's hope that everyone gets away with it. But anyway, Pasquale now leading this race after that lap, still by over 2 seconds actually, so it's a decent lead. The main battle is now the battle for 3rd. That's Saucy, Carao, De Lorenzo, Barbara and Alpha, and then not too far behind them is Salducas, so Salducas might get involved in this. And They're all very close in a long chain. That's a 7-car chain there, from a 6-car chain from 3rd down to 8th place. Saucy at the head of them. It's a close one. We're almost 8 minutes into this race though. Oh, very wide and off goes someone. Now who's that? It's Senio Alpha. So Alpha ran right over the gravel there, and he's lost a place to Salducas. So Salducas has gone through, and Nelson Abranosa is now right behind Senio Alpha. I've just been complimenting Alpha on his come back through the field, but he's made a mistake, and now he's under attack from Nelson Abranosa. And Abranosa getting very close to the rear end of him. Abranosa, a very generous driver, in fact. I posted a picture the other day, just for the fun of it, of my headset, which is broken, and I'm still wearing that now, actually, to commentate. It's got the right headpiece completely missing, and I posted that on Discord just because it was a funny picture. And the next thing I knew, Nelson Abranosa had donated £20 to me. So very, very generous from Nelson, and a big thank you to him for that. But yeah, currently running in 9th position in this race, just behind Senio Alpha, very close to the rear end of him, not letting him get away actually. And Alpha struggling. Oh, into the wall goes Corrao. Corrao in the barrier through the Hugenholtz box on the entrance. I didn't see quite how that happened, but Corrao, I can see how that happened on the stream. He ran over the curb on the outside, bounced around a bit, and the car just swung across into the wall, lost control, and he's lost a place. Only lost 1 place in all of that, and that was to Luigi Di Lorenzo, who's up into 4th now. Yeah, Corrao loses that place, and he's now under big, heavy attack from Barbara. Barbara going up the inside into the hook, and might get this place. They're going to still be side by side on the exit. No, they won't be, because Barbara has the place. Is that steering damage I see on Corrao's car? I think he's got quite heavy steering damage here. I'll see as he goes onto the straight, especially. Yeah, that's steering damage. So Corrao, I'm afraid, after that collision, in real trouble here. He's only going to be dropping down the order after this, 6th at the minute, but he's going to be dropping a long way back, I'm afraid to say. Corrao has damaged his steering, and that is pretty much his competitive race over.
Actually, that was Justin Salducas who passed them Gianluigi Corrao.
I don't think... Oh, it was! Oh, that means that Corrao's already lost places before that, and that means that maybe the damage had already been done. He'd had a separate incident, because at the start of the lap he was a long way. Yeah, he must have had an off at turn 1. But anyway, at the end of that lap, the pit window has opened. Barbara is in the pits, and I'm expecting that Corrao will definitely be in. Yeah, he's in, and that will be damage repairs for Corrao. Has he repaired the damage? Yes, he has. The damage repairs for Corrao. That'll lose him a couple of places. Zara pitted, and Zara is now back on his way. Is that rear wing damage? No, it isn't. Michael Macher also pitted, as did Michael Abranosa. So a couple of stoppers on that lap. The pit window will be open for 2 more laps, 1 more realistically. Everyone that isn't right near the lead of the race will have to pit on this next lap for the safety of it. So through the chicane goes Pasquale. Does he pit this lap or the next? Remember, this was the point in last race that Pasquale lost the race because he made a slower pit stop, probably a slower pit entry than Di Lorenzo, allowing Di Lorenzo to take the lead of the race, to jump him in the pits, and Di Lorenzo went on to win the race. So Pasquale will be hoping to not make the same mistake here. Here he goes on the pit entry. That looked pretty good. Santoro follows him in. They have a bigger gap than the 2 leaders did in the last race. Leading the race now is Luigi Di Lorenzo. He did not pit. Saucy pits, Salducas pits, Alpha pits, Abranosa pits. Also in is going to be pretty much everyone else who didn't pit last time, I expect. And if anyone else doesn't pit, they're going to end up being disqualified here. Pieter Grobler is in. And as is Matthias McCarthy. So that is pretty much everyone that's made a pit stop now. And everyone else will be pitting on this lap. And by everyone else, I mean Luigi Di Lorenzo, basically. So Luigi Di Lorenzo, who leads this race, will be pitting at the end of this lap. It was a bit risky of him to stay out there, because if the top two hadn't pitted there, and he hadn't pitted either, then he would have been right on the buffer, worrying about whether he was going to end up being disqualified or not. Luckily, that hasn't been the case. There must have been communication between the team as to who was going to pit on which lap. Now, out of the chicane goes Di Lorenzo, and into the final two corners. There's another massively banked gravel trap on the left-hand side there at Arie Luyendyk box. I've seen a race having to be red flagged there before because the recovery vehicle simply couldn't get up there to recover the car. Into the pits comes Di Lorenzo, and hopefully everyone who needed to pit did, otherwise there are going to be disqualifications here. As we often see, he's just started lap 9 of this race. And Pasquale takes the lead of this race back. So Pasquale leads from Santuro. Di Lorenzo will exit, I think, in third. Does he get out ahead of Sorcy? Yes, he does. So Di Lorenzo out in third, ahead of Sorcy. And at the end of this lap, I'll tell you what the order is post pit window. Now, did everyone make it through? Yes, they did. So no disqualifications, and that's great. That's the first sprint race this season where that's happened. Or I should say where that hasn't happened, because nothing happened. Now we're almost 15 minutes into this race here. This second of the two races. And hello to TCHAK47 in the YouTube chat. He says, "Let's go, Cyril." Cyril Saucy. Cyril Saucy there. I've just seen a battle on the stream replay between Alpha and Zara, and Alpha is now ahead of Zara, so that was for 8th position. Senor Alpha has got ahead of Sandro Zara for 8th place, and the two of them are in the middle sector at the minute. Of course, both of them recovering after incidents earlier on. Alpha had a big off through the gravel. Zara had a big off where he went right up over the top of Danilo Santuro at the chicane, which might well be the reason that Santuro isn't leading this race here. Santuro, of course, started ahead of his two teammates, but he's going to finish behind them on both occasions here, thus losing the lead of the championship. As you know, he's not going to lose to Di Lorenzo in this race as it stands because he's ahead of him. So the order after this lap, the pit window has ended, and the order is Daniele Pasquale from Danilo Santuro. Then it's Luigi Di Lorenzo in third, just lapping one of the Abranoses there. Following them, Sorcy, Barbara, Salducas, Abranosa, Alpha, Zara, Carrao, and then Pieter Grobler, Michael Macher, Matthias McCarthy, and Michael Abranosa. So that is the order. We've still got 14 drivers remaining in this race. Only one of them is a lap down, and that's Michael Abranosa. And that is how the field looks at the end of the 17th minute of the race, the 17th minute about to end. And we're on lap 10 out of 15. So, 17 minutes of this race completed. It's the 3 Morning Stars Academy cars up the front of the field here at Zandvoort. This is still round 3 of the SEAT TCR Summer Championship. This round from Zandvoort in the Netherlands. And the whole field is close, but not quite close enough for anyone to make a move on anyone else this time around. Oh, someone's running wide. That was, oh, it was a Oops, it was Michael Abranosa. Never mind. He's a lap down. I thought it was possibly Di Lorenzo because it was just ahead of Saucy, but Di Lorenzo is fine as Saucy now laps Michael Abranosa. Abranosa getting out of the way nicely. That's good to see. Of course, we have had issues with back markers in this series so far. There was one in round 1. Oh! Senio Alpha's lost a couple of places on that lap. He's dropped behind Zara and Carrao, so maybe a further mistake for Senio Alpha. He has been making a couple of mistakes today. Now, I'm not quite sure what happened to Alpha on that lap. I don't know if we picked it up on the stream. I don't think we did. But Alpha lost 2 places. We didn't see it on the stream. Jeffrey Ventus says, what track is this? This is the circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Zandvoort, one of the old school tracks, held F1 Grand Prix all throughout the 60s, 70s and 80s. Well, I say all throughout, it was a bit on and off at times, but held many F1 races in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Actually held the very first F1 race to have everyone finish. That was in 1962 here. 15 cars started, 15 cars finished. That had been the first time that had ever happened in Formula 1. For touring cars, it's a I think it's a better track with for touring cars than it is for single-seaters, because for single-seaters, overtaking here is pretty much impossible. And for for touring cars, it's hard, but the drivers can do it if they're creative and brave enough. And that does mean, I think, the best drivers race to the top a lot of the time. But it does mean that there aren't as many overtakes here as we got last time out at Monza, for example. Monza was a fantastic race. I tell you what, if you haven't seen it, then I'd suggest going back to watch that. That was one of our 1-hour races at Monza, and it was a really, really exciting battle between the top 4. We had the 3 Morning Stars Academy cars plus Omar Barbara all scrapping over the lead of the race for the entire hour. It's one of the longest battles you'll ever witness, and one of the toughest fights in a sim race that I've seen in a very long time. 20 minutes of this race completed now, not long to go. Incidentally, Gianluigi Carrao is really catching up now to Sandro Zara, maybe launching a last gasp attempt at getting 8th position here. He's really closing up on the back of Zara now as we go through the middle sector of the course. Wow, it looks as if he was going to touch Zara's rear end there as he hopped over the curb. Now he has a slight tyre lock-up. The gap as they cross the line was about 0.5 of a second, but he's caught up to pretty much nothing. That'll be about 0.2 of a second through the left-hander. And Carrao, I expect, will have an attack very shortly at 8th position. Oh, he's lost it! Carrao loses it and he clatters into Zara's car. Zara goes up on his side. Now he has to back off, surely. He can't gain the position from that because that was absolutely his fault. And Carrao there just locked up his brakes, slipped the car sideways, clattered into the side of Zara's car. That was a very close one and very nearly a big accident. It was a big shunt, but it looks as if they're both going to get away from it. Zara, that's the second time that Zara's been up on his side at that part of the circuit today. But yeah, Carrao just lost on the braking. Zara wouldn't have known what had hit him there because it just came out of absolutely nowhere and suddenly gave him a massive wallop. Hopefully neither of them are damaged. Incidentally, Di Lorenzo also launching a last gasp attack at getting past Santoro for second. He actually gained about 0.6 of a second on that last lap. He's right behind Santoro now. So Di Lorenzo really pushing in this race. He's the championship leader behind the previous championship leader. And they're fighting over second place in this race, playing Pasquale, and struggling to work out who would actually be ahead if they finished like this in the race. So Pasquale got 4th place in race 1. 4th place is 10 points. So he would have lost 15 points. No, 4th place is 12. So he would have lost 13 points to our winner, Di Lorenzo. Meaning that would have been So the gap there would have been 7 points after the race. And then to Pasquale as well, that would have been they would have been the same on points. But anyway, look at Di Lorenzo now. Di Lorenzo in the slipstream of Santuro as they head down the start-finish straight. He looks to the inside, forces Santuro to go defensive, but Santuro doesn't give the place up. Incidentally, we've had a swap. Sal Ducas, I think, has got ahead of Barbara. Barbara dropping, well, someone's dropped a couple of places. Unless, I don't know, there was a swap around that first part of the order, but anyway. So if they finish in this order, Pasquale will pass Santuro in the championship. But will they pass Di Lorenzo? I'm trying to work this out. Di Lorenzo will gain 15 points. Pasquale will beat him by 10. I really don't know. It's going to be very close between the top guys. I'll have to do some very quick maths after this race, because I need to be commentating on it at the time. Look at that. That's Di Lorenzo trying to get the wider line in and the tighter line out to try to switch back Danilo onto this straight. But not quite. Now, can he get through down into the chicane? He's not close enough. Again, trying to get some sort of a switchback, but doesn't manage to overlap just yet. And at the same time, Correa is attacking Zara as Zara. Well, that's Alpha. So there's a three-way battle. Oh, contact! Correa's going off. So Correa into the grass. Looks like he just ran into the back of Alpha there. Now onto the straight go, second and third. Santuro goes very defensive to the inside here, trying to break Di Lorenzo's slipstream. Di Lorenzo goes to the outside on the final lap of this race, and Santuro defended very, very well there. He knew exactly what he needed to do. So, Di Lorenzo gets a switchback, but he's not going to be able to hold it there. Santuro comes across to defend, and Santuro keeps second place for now. Now through the Hugenholz box, big lock up for both of them. Santuro keeps the place. 25 minutes in, we're on the final lap. The gap for the lead is 7.401. So Pasquale's really got away from this group. But that's not the battle we're watching here. The battle we're watching is between Santuro and Di Lorenzo for second position as they go through Shivlak to the right. And there's pretty much no more opportunity for Di Lorenzo to get past Santuro. This is pretty much it, unless he can launch a move here or down into the chicane. The chicane is pretty much the last braking zone left on this track. Oh, he's actually got side by side with him now as we head into the left hand, and he's going to switch back. He's not going to be able to hold on around the outside. Now down the straight towards the chicane. This isn't normally an overtaking opportunity, but here we go. Now he needs to dive to the inside. Too late, too late. Locks up and goes slightly sideways. Almost pushes Santuro through the corner. Meanwhile, Daniele Pasquale comes through the final corner of this race, and Pasquale is going to win it. Daniele Pasquale wins the race for Morningstar Academy. There he goes across the line. Daniele Pasquale is the winner after 15 laps of racing. Second is going to be Danilo Santuro, just from Luigi Di Lorenzo. Very, very close. They were separated by less than 0.3 of a second. One more lap and Di Lorenzo could have got that. Cyril Saucy is fourth. Fifth is going to be Justinas Salduca. Sixth is Omar Barbara. Seventh, Nelson Abranosa. And then eighth, Sandro Zara there. Sandro Zara coming through the final corner now. And where's Senio Alpha gone? Oh, no! Zara's dropped a long way back, so Alpha is going to be 8. He got past Zara on the final lap of the race, and Zara dropped a couple of seconds back, so maybe there was a mistake from Zara. And Correa, who went off a couple of laps ago, is going to claim 10th place there. 11th is going to be Grobler. Grobler 11th. And then Macher is 12th. And Matthias McCarthy will be 13th. 14th has already been claimed by Michael Abranosa. A lap down again. But Matthias McCarthy, the last driver on the lead lap, again in the number 20 car, is about to finish in 13th position. Round the final two corners he comes, and I'm going to take this opportunity to calculate who is leading this championship. As out comes my calculator. So before the event, Santoro was on 61 points. In race 1, he finished in 4th place, gaining him 12 points. In race 2, he finished in 2nd, giving him 18. So he's on 91 points. Second in the championship before he came into this round was Daniele Pasquale. He had 55 points. In race 1, he came 2nd, giving him 18. In race 2, he won, giving him 25. He's on 98. So he is ahead of Santoro. 3rd place in the championship, Luigi Di Lorenzo. 3rd place coming in. Won race 1, so that's 25 points. And then came 3rd in race 2, giving him 15. So that's 95, meaning that Pasquale leads the championship from Di Lorenzo and Santoro in that order. So that is the championship, and that's the halfway point as well. So after the halfway point in the championship, we're still very, very close. And now we will be able to interview those drivers. So Morning Stars Academy, we have them with us here. We also have Omar Barbara. Now, who here is translating for us?
It's me.
Adrian. Okay, so right, Adrian. For a start, let's start. Let's do it in opposite championship order. So Danilo Santoro went into this round in 1st in the championship and actually lost 2 championship positions. I can imagine he's a little bit disappointed with a 4th place and a 2nd place here today. Can you ask him about that, please?
Ciao Danilo, allora cominciamo con te che sei venuto per questa gara, che eri il primo nel campionato, adesso dopo questa gara sei il terzo. È qualcosa definitivamente che sei un po' come ti senti dopo questo?
Buonasera. Diciamo che non è andata molto bene questa gara e diciamo un po' deluso, però ero anche consapevole che questa pista soprattutto su questa pista avevo molte difficoltà e non riuscivo ad avere un passo costante diciamo che ho limitato i danni, ecco, potevo evitare quell'errore in gara 1 che mi è costato il podio e niente, cercherò di rifarmi alla prossima gara.
So actually he said he's quite disappointed, but he knew from before that he doesn't have a very good pace, and actually this circuit he could have done better if he would avoided the mistake he's done in race 1, which obviously costed him losing the podium, was on race 1.
Okay, thank you. And the collision with Sandro as well, that cost him a couple of places. Can you ask him about how he feels about that one?
Allora Danilo, quando c'era l'impatto con Sandro Zara, come ha effettuato la tua gara?
Allora, l'impatto con Zara diciamo, ecco, penso che sia un incidente di gara, ecco, però diciamo un po' influito sulle prestazioni della macchina. Ecco, il mio tempo si è alzato dopo il contatto e i danni ricevuti, il tempo si è alzato di circa mezzo secondo, se non di più. E ho dovuto fare, diciamo, una gara in totale difesa, ecco, soprattutto nel finale su Luigi, che è arrivato su molto minaccioso, ecco. Quindi con i denti, insomma, denti stretti, sono riuscito a difendermi, ecco, e a portare a casa la seconda posizione.
So actually, the accident with Sandro Zara, he's considering, like he said, it could be like a race incident. Obviously, we'll review that ourselves later. But he said, yes, it did have an effect on the pace of his car. So he lost a little bit pace on performance on his car because of some slight damages. He did the in-care, and obviously had to do a defensive race, especially on Luigi in the last few laps.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Danilo. Grazie. And
That's it.
we move on now to second place in the championship after that round, who is Luigi Di Lorenzo. So for Luigi, he won his first sprint race victory of the year in race one by jumping Daniele Pasquale in the pits. Can you ask him about how that race looked from his point of view and how he eventually did beat Daniele?
Allora, Luigi, passiamo da te. Adesso è la prima gara che hai vinto come una gara sprint in questo campionato e come ti sei sentito, ovviamente battendo Daniele in gara 1.
Ciao Joshua. Non me l'aspettavo di riuscire a battere Daniele perché era molto più veloce come di passo gara rispetto a me. L'ho fregato praticamente ai pit, riuscendo a fare un ingresso pit e un'uscita più rapido possibile. E per un pelo ce l'ho fatta, poi lui aveva molto più velocità e ho cercato semplicemente di tenerlo dietro e sono contento di esserci riuscito perché era veramente molto più veloce di me e aveva secondo me un degrado un po' leggermente inferiore, aveva qualche decimino in tasca rispetto a me.
So actually, yes, he feels very happy. It was like an unexpected that he managed to win that race and keep that pace. He thought even, I'm just making it sure that Daniele could have had some more time or pace time in his sleeve. You know what I mean? He had possibly a better pace, but he had less degradation on his car. But he's definitely happy to have done it. Joshua?
Yeah, sorry, I had accidentally muted my microphone there. So yeah, that was Daniele. No, that was Luigi Di Lorenzo there talking about his race one result. In race two as well, didn't quite manage to pass Danilo at the end of that. Do you think this is to Luigi? Do you think that that there was anything more that you could have and should have done at the end of the race there?
So actually, attualmente, scusami, perché stavo per dirlo in inglese. Allora, attualmente per la seconda gara hai provato di sorpassare Danilo, ma non sappiamo perché non ti sei riuscito a farlo, come erano quei lap lì.
Danilo è riuscito benissimo a chiudere sempre la traiettoria al momento giusto in tutte le fasi di sorpasso. Era leggermente più lento di me, non si parla di un secondo al giro, ma 2-3 decimi al giro. Siamo compagni di squadra, quindi non ho voluto di certo arrecargli danno con un sorpasso fuori dal normale, ecco, semplicemente.
So yes, he's saying that like he had a better race pace than Danilo, but he tried, but being obviously teammates also he didn't want to push and obviously cause something that could be of detriment for both of them.
Okay, thanks for that, and thank you to Luigi Di Lorenzo as well. Grazie.
Grazie Joshua.
Now, last but most in terms of the championship points is going to be Daniele Pasquale, our new championship leader after that round, gaining several points over his teammates there. He now leads the championship by 3 points. I can imagine he's feeling rather happy about that.
Allora Daniele, adesso sei il nuovo leader del campionato con 3 punti, deve essere felice con questa cosa, sì. Daniele.
Buonasera a tutti. Sì, beh, ovviamente essere andato in testa al campionato è una bella cosa e di questo ne sono molto felice.
Yeah, definitely he's happy to be obviously now the championship leader.
Okay, well, straight to the point. Very good. In terms of the race as well, race 1 finished in 2nd position. Race 2 finished in first. Actually, won that race quite dominantly. So, how did the racing look from his point of view?
Allora, essere finito secondo nella prima gara e primo con un bel distacco nella seconda gara, com'erano queste gare in generale per te?
Allora, beh, prima gara partendo dalla pole e in questa pista, vista la difficoltà dei sorpassi, pensavo di fare una gara tra virgolette tranquilla perché sapevo che Luigi era veloce, quindi mi stava vicino, però non pensavo sinceramente che mi poteva fare un sorpasso lì al pit, infatti sono rimasto molto sorpreso. Poi ho cercato di riattaccarlo, c'è stato quel sorpasso e controsorpasso bellissimo, tutto in maniera corretta, anche perché fra compagni di squadra si rischia il meno possibile. E niente, però vabbè, complimenti a Luigi, alla fine mi sono accontentato della seconda posizione. In gara 2 diciamo che tra il primo e il secondo giro mi ha girato tutto a favore. Già ho fatto dalla partenza, facendo una buona partenza, sono riuscito a passare un paio di macchine e poi c'è stato il contatto fra Danilo e Sandro che praticamente mi ha spianato la strada per andare primo e ho fatto il mio passo e ho concluso la gara abbastanza tranquillo, diciamo.
So what he said, obviously the first race, being in pole, he didn't in such a track where there are obviously limited places where you can do an overtake. He didn't think that Luigi will do an overtake in the pits, but yes, he managed to do it. It's between obviously again teammates, but he compliments Luigi for doing that, and obviously he had to stay with the second place in the first race. For the second race, he had a very good start. Obviously enough, he managed to get over some cars straight away. And then obviously the incident between Danilo and Sandro gave him the opportunity to go in the lead and continue with the lead of the second race.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, grazie Daniele.
Grazie a voi.
There we go. So those were the team Morning Stars Academy drivers, 1, 2, and 3 in the championship. And now there was only one driver. There is only one driver who has been able to challenge them all season long. The only other driver to have got on the podium in any race so far. They've done it twice now, once of them today, and that is Omar Barbara. Hello, Omar.
Hi there, Josh. Hope everybody's all right.
Yes. So, Omar, you finished third in the first race. That's the one that everyone wants to hear about here. Challenging the Morning Stars. Oh my word! Okay. Challenging the Morning Stars Academy drivers. Third place. Yeah. Surely you're very happy with that.
Again, it was a mistake by Santoro, which gave me the position. But yeah, I kept the pace. I kept on pushing. I'm very exhausted. I'm very, very exhausted at the moment because these two races where the car is very grippy and it gives you a lot of strains in your hand. But anyway, I feel happy with the position. I mean, I'm trying my best to compete with the guys because they are very fast. I mean, you can see that they're taking me now over 3/10 in every lap. So I kept record of that. I'll train more for the next round. Maybe I'll try to fit in at least the second position.
Yeah, certainly. No one other than a Morning Stars Academy driver has had that position so far this series. So you would definitely be the first person to do that. And maybe a first place as well. That's been utterly
Hopefully.
Italian dominated so far.
Exactly, yeah.
And then in race 2, actually, you couldn't do any better than 6th place in that. Were there a couple of mistakes, or was that simply the best that you had there?
I had some contact. The car was a bit better. I mean, it was feeling a bit slow. But yeah, in the last 2 laps, I did some mistakes. One of them, I tried to shift down in second, but the Logitech, the steering didn't shift down, and then I kept on going straight right at the hairpin before the last corner. And I gave that when I lost the position from 5th to 6th, because I saw him right next to me, and I stopped. I waited for him to pass, then I drove back. And I had some incidents. I had some mistakes with the first corner because I was pushing very hard the second round because I was feeling gutted that I'm in 5th or 6th place, whatever. But I was burning up the tires. So it ended up with a slow car because of the damage. And then I had to slow down because of tires. I've been doing just 144s the second race, which is 2 seconds off my pace. But it happened. I mean, yeah, I kept there. I took some points out of it, at least.
Okay, yeah, well done about that. I'm just trying to work out where you are in the championship. I think you may have inherited 4th place there, but I'm just about to confirm that. Just have one more little calculation to do. You've been in a battle with Cyril Saucy for a while now in the championship for points. It's been a rather close one, actually. Oh, I've just forgotten why. Right, let me concentrate for a second here. So,
yeah, because I got DNF'd in race 1. So from the championship, I've got a race without any points. That's why, at the moment, yeah, I'm trying to get at least to 3rd place. We'll see.
And you haven't quite inherited 4th yet. You're close, but
because it's 6th. Yeah, I was trying to get at least a 4th place in the second race.
Do you still think you could be best of the rest buying the Morningstar's cars, or do you think you can challenge them?
Yeah, I'm trying to challenge them.
Fantastic, yeah.
I want to challenge them. Actually.
Okay, so Omar Barbara there, 5th in the championship now, very nearly 4th, fighting for 4th. And finished 3rd in race 1 today. So thanks for that interview there, Omar.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks, everyone.
And I will now hand back over to Adrian Figallo to Justin rather, whoever wants to take over here for the end of this broadcast.
So thanks, Joshua. We have obviously some incidents to review after the race. Actually, I think I have 9 of them between both races. We'll be reviewing that now. I would like to thank you for the commentary. Would like to thank the drivers for a great race again. We would like to thank also our sponsors, which are GT Omega Racing, 3D Rep, Melita, and Textor. Obviously, we'll be back next week with the 4th round of the championship. And I'll pass on. Okay, so actually, yes, we'll see you next week. And thanks for being with us today.
issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.